This is a pretty important lesson on indenting text. Now, once again, when you're working in a word processor, always type everything in and then worry about making it look good afterwards. So this is pretty much what your document should look like once you're done typing it in. I've got my show hide on so that I can see, where I've got my enters, where my paragraphs end. So I recommend you always work with that on. Now, your ruler should also be on. If for some reason you don't see your rulers, click this little button here, and that will bring your ruler up. Now, once you've done typing this, you'd probably choose to take the first sentence and maybe center it, and then you might want to give yourself a little bit of room between that, and then you'd go there, and then this might be your first line, so you might be able to you might want to give yourself a little room there. Here I've separated contact from what would probably be your name, and you might want this little extension to be lined up. Now we've got tab, which does a really nice job of indenting from the left, right? And it stops once again at every ½ inch. If you're not sure about that, you'll want to watch the tab lesson. And now we've got an introductory paragraph here that I probably would want to make stand out. So I'm just going to separate that, and then we've got a mission statement, so I'll probably want to separate that. And then I've got 3 paragraphs that are pretty much the same. One's on security, one's on wait times, and one's about singles. So I can probably just separate those and know that I'm going to do whatever I do to one of these, I'll do to all 3. And I might want to do the same thing to these 2 as I'm going along. Now, if you wish to align a paragraph, it's these buttons, and you don't need to select the entire paragraph in order to affect it. The same thing applies to indenting a paragraph. You don't need to select the entire paragraph. You can indent it simply by being inside of it. So now I want to refer you to your ruler where your indentation markers are. This first one will indent the first line only. The bottom one will indent the entire paragraph. So let me demonstrate here. If I take this first one, I can indent the first line only, which we really don't see that much anymore. It's really not in fashion anymore. People don't do that very much. So I'll take that away. Now, if I want this paragraph to stand out and I want to indent the entire thing from the left, I can do that. And I'm clicking and dragging the little bottom box right there. And if I want to do the same thing from the right, I would take this guy here, and this one takes everything from the right and puts it that way. You'll see this a lot with quotes. And then oftentimes, if you're indenting from the left and from the right, it might be a nice touch to also justify. All right, so you see that a lot. And then if it is a quote, you of course italicize it. But that's how you indent from the left and from the right. If you want to remove them, you simply bring them back. Okay. You don't want to go into the gray or dark area, because then you're going outside of your what might be your printable margin. So even though they'll let you go out this way, I don't recommend that you do, because you're looking into making your document quite messy. So usually you'll indent in from here. Your other option is you can go to paragraph from here, and you can indent from the left and from the right, the same way here, and say OK, and I've got the exact same effect. So you choose which one of those 2 you like. And now here I have a title, and then I have the rest of the statement. All right. You've got these buttons here, which increase and decrease the indent. Now, unfortunately, they only increase or decrease the indent from the left, so they're only really affecting this little square box right here. If you wanted to indent this also from the right, you'd have to do that manually afterwards, and then of course you'd probably want to justify that as well. All right, so now, and I didn't indent it enough, so I'd probably come in just a little bit more so that those 2 are the same. Now, I've talked about the first line indent, I've talked about indenting the whole thing, and I've talked about the right. I've omitted the one in the middle on purpose because this one you're not going to use very often. It's called hanging indent. And what it does is it indents every line except the first line. I've got a unique situation here where I've got titles, and then I've tabbed over to get away from the title, so then I can start typing everything else. Now, if I want to indent every line but the first line, I can do that with that little triangle. It's actually quite hard to get. I'm trying to get it, but it's getting the box instead. So there we go. Now I've got it, and it's giving me a little line here right on your screen, which is nice because now I can make sure that I line up to the T in the club and let that go right there. All right, so that was perfect. And rather than try to do that again, I would probably just F4 and then come here and F4. Okay, so remember F4 is repeat. Whatever I just did, do it again. And for these three, I could have also done this. I could have selected all three and done them at the same time, and then I can do that as well if I wanted to, and then I can probably justify as well if I wanted to. So those are your major lessons on indenting. You've got first line indent, you've got every line but the first line, you've got the whole paragraph from the left, you've got the whole paragraph from the right, and if you wish to see the menu, come here. You've got left indent, you've got right indent, you've got special, first line, and hanging. Okay, so all of these are also in these little markers. So you can do them here, or you can do them right from your ruler. It's your choice.